What's up, guys? So I just put up my most recent video. It's about a book review on Think and Grow Rich, and I got a lot of positive feedback on that. So today I'm going to be talking about How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And there's a lot of huge takeaways I took from this, and basically what it comes down to is interacting with people, obviously how to win friends and influence people. And the first point he kind of talks about is not criticizing, condemning, or complaining. And when you think about it, we often go into the world and we kind of listen to what people say, and then we always like to put our 2 cents into it. We're like, oh, well, you should do that better, you should do this better, you should do that better. And it kind of comes down to the classic parent and child conversation of, oh, son, you did bad on this test, you should study more, you should go to, pay attention better in class. And the son's like, yep, okay. And then they kind of slowly over time, you drift apart. If you're constantly criticizing and condemning someone, your relationship is not strengthening, it's actually weakening, because you're focusing on the negatives and trying to pry people apart and stick your thoughts and everything into them, as opposed to listening to their perspective. And with that, on the other flip side, a lot of us are, when we are talking to people and not criticizing them, we are complaining about our own lives. So if you go up to someone, it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they're just like, oh, well, work sucks today, this sucks, the weather's bad, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to talk to that person. You're instantly repelled. It's like, okay, yeah, have a good one. And you just kind of go away, because in both the criticizing and the complaining, they're both forms of putting in negative energy. And that's something we want to avoid when we're trying to go out to the world and, again, make friends and influence people. Because if we're just putting out negative energy, nobody wants to be around you. So the big thing is putting out that positive energy and being very careful not to criticize or complain when we are meeting new people, especially, because that, again, repels people. So just kind of become aware of that. And a lot of the points I share in this video are mostly to make you guys aware. Things that it took me a long time to figure out and become aware of. So I want to share those with you guys, so that we can all go out and make the world a happier and better place, and we can all interact along with each other better. So with that, without criticizing and complaining when we're talking to people, a big point he harps on is becoming genuinely interested in other people. And not just saying that in the fact of you go out and listen to someone says because you feel like you should, but actually being interested in what other people have to share. Listening to them is a very big point, because a lot of times we often go out and talk. We're talking and talking and sharing and putting our 2 cents into everything. But try to just listen to someone. Next time you have a conversation, let someone else talk and become interested in what they're saying, and don't just wait for them to finish so you can talk. But actually become genuinely interested in what they are saying and listen to every word they say, without planning your next thing in your head, being like, all right, blah, 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 I'm going to say this. And that is, again, not a good way to connect with people, because if they just feel like you're talking at them and you're not listening, why would anyone want to hang around you? So with that comes how to, I guess, for lack of a better word, how to turn a negative experience into a positive. And the most simple one is smiling. Even just talking about smiling, or thinking about smiling, or seeing someone smile, I smile. Whenever I see someone smile, it kind of, lightens my mood a little bit. And it's just such an easy and simple way to go out and make someone's day better. For example, if you're going to a convenience store and someone's complaining about the service to them in front of you in line, then the next person is just like, oh, this is taking so long, well, how can you go so slow? And all these negatives are building up. This cashier or whoever is just kind of like, yep, here you go. And then they're having a bad day, and then they look up and they see you, and you just give them a little smile. And they smile back, and all of a sudden their day is 10 times better than it was before you got there. And all it takes is a simple little smile. And it can make the world of a difference in someone's life and their day. And then again, that can flip the script on them from having negative influences on other people because they've been bombarded with negatives. Then after your smile, they go out and they're happy, and then they're going to make someone else happy by smiling at the next person. And it's kind of like this chain effect that can trigger down. If we are making one person happy, they go out and make another person happy, and again, it's just kind of, it just builds off each other. So the focus is really on being positive and making positive impressions on other people, so again, they can go out and share that themselves. And as we're going out and meeting these new people, getting to know these new people, the first thing that is the most important, as he says, the most beautiful word in any given language, and that is a person's name. And if you go out and you're meeting people and you're just like, hey, I'm Rob, nice to meet you. And they're like, hey, I'm Janet. And it's like, oh, nice to meet you. And then it's just like you guys talk and it's like, oh, well, see you later. Okay, bye. And you forget their name and you're just kind of awkward in a sense because you feel like you should and you don't. Or if there's like two guys like, oh, what's up, man? Oh, see you later, bro. And it's just kind of like these filler words that we use, which sometimes can be very genuine. I don't want to take anything away from that, but oftentimes we use them as fillers and kind of ways to get around knowing someone's name. So the key to learning someone's name, which I could make a whole video on, is going out and saying it and just kind of practicing and associated with different things. I can make a video about that later, but that's just a big point that he talks about, that again, if someone says your name, it genuinely means that they're interested in you and interested in your life, as opposed to just being, oh, this is another person who I'm going to forget after this conversation. So it just shows interest, and it shows that you're listening to them. And as we're going out and meeting these new people, talking to them, having conversations with them, we want to avoid arguments, because if you think about it, in an argument, no one ever wins, or if they do, it's that someone else is losing. And if we're trying to go out and spread positive energy to everyone and make everyone's lives better, why do we want to make someone else lose for our own expense? So try to avoid arguments and see other people's point of view. And that kind of comes down to, again, listening and putting yourself in their shoes and trying to see things from a different perspective, and not trying to always put our 2 cents in. And this is the topics I've said a few times because I think they're very important, and things that I myself am still working on doing, is trying to avoid arguments and trying not to put my thoughts and trying to rail them into someone and make them do what I do because it works for me. We're all very individual, so try to see other people's perspectives and avoid arguments at all costs. And have respect for another person's point of view. Agree to disagree, as people say. If you are wrong, admit you are wrong. There's no reason for us to, once we realize we are wrong, to kind of pretend like we're not and carry along with our day. So when you are wrong, admit it, and admit it emphatically. Admit it like you mean it. You know you're wrong, and don't try to hide it. So the big takeaways, I would say, overall, are not to criticize, condemn, or complain. Become genuinely interested in other people, learning what they like, smiling, saying and learning their names, showing respect for others' opinions, and if you're wrong, just admit it, and people will generally be much more receptive. And then avoiding arguments and being accepting of other people's points of views, even if they're not the same as your own. I think that's a very important point to come away from. Respect others for the differences they have, even if they're different than your own. And again, become interested in what they have to say and learn to listen and enjoy people's company. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be putting out more book reviews as I finish my books, so it's going to take a little time to get through these books and really kind of consolidate everything that I've taken away from it. Yeah, so hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Rob. Please subscribe to the Well Bros. Thanks.